Hi, WhiskyJason here, a whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskey. And today I have once again something very interesting. This is from the Aureum, which is a Ziegler Brennerei distillery here in Germany. And it's called the Gitarist. Now this was distilled 2011, so it was 6 years old. And then they did an experiment. So there's a heavy metal group over here, a band called Grave Diggers, or Grave Digger. And Axel Ritt is the guitarist, and he actually has worked with Aureum distillery, which actually means the gold medal already, and they have a special edition Grave Digger whiskey. And so he had this question: will whiskey change the sound of a guitar? Not when I get drunk and I'm the guitarist, but actually the wood of the guitar. And so what they did is they put the body, the corpus, of 3 different guitars, it could be a bass or it could be an electric guitar, into a barrel of whiskey, and they let it mature for a further 7 months. Now, this experiment is very, very unique. They used 3 different types of bodies of these guitars, these blanks. There was the maple and mahogany, which we have here. There's the swamp ash with the chestnut. And finally, there's the maple with the olive wood. Now, one of the biggest or leading manufacturers of guitars in Europe is Warwick, also known as Framus. And they actually have a sister guitar, which was not in the whiskey, made from identical wood at the identical time, so that they will actually have 2 guitars, one made from the standard and one made from the wood that has spent 7 months in the whiskey. Now, Axel Ritt hopes that the molecular structure of the wood is changed by that whiskey, and that they will have a totally different, or not a totally, but a significantly, a noticeable difference in the sound. Who knows? Who knows? Now, if he actually has done something, and this is the case, this is going to be very, very interesting. Now, this is 47% ABV. This is 80 euros, which is about $88, $90. And there's a total of 406 50 centiliter or 500 milliliter bottles over here in Germany. So 406 is not that many, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this. I'm going to wait for the next one to come out, probably the maple and the olive, and then the swamp ash and the chestnut, and I'm going to have all 3 here. I'm actually going to compare it. What I don't have is actually the 6-year-old whiskey. What I have is the 5-year-old whiskey from this distillery. This was matured in chestnut, and so I actually have a reference. Now, first of all, the reference is, look at those different colors. Yeah, let's take a little piece of paper here. I'm sure you saw it on my shirt, but still, it's a difference if I have that white piece of paper. Anybody can notice the difference. Depends on your screen and depends on my camera, but that's a massive difference here. That mahogany wood really did make a difference. Now, they did not char or toast these pieces of wood. Don't forget, they're going to make a guitar or a bass guitar out of these. So, on the nose, this is more of a typical German whiskey, which means it's very, very rough. It has rough edges, in spite of its chestnut wood maturation. The nose is a little bit even acidy. Now, if I take this in comparison, this is the second cousin. It's much smoother, much fruitier, much grapier. It's almost like a grape mash that is used to make, for example, grappa. Yeah, very, very interesting. I get even some syrup, like a little bit of molasses. And the last thing I get is a honey made from pine trees. Oh, over here in Germany, we actually have like great honey. We have honey that's just from the rape fields. We just have honey which from the sunflower fields. We have honey just from the black forest honey, just from those pine trees, and that's a little bit like that pine tree honey, directly from the black forest. All right, I'm going to taste the standard first. It actually tastes better than it smells. Not bad for those 5 years. The chestnut really gives a little bit of sweetness at the end, which is nice. This would be a solid 3-ish, down to a 3, -3 at the moment. So a little bit of water in between. Now moving on to the Aureum, which means gold medal. 6-year-old, the Guitarist, one of 406 bottles worldwide. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Towards the end, I have a little bit more of the wood. Not a bad bourbon barrel wood, yay, but a little bit of a sweet type of wood. Like a sweet, like a root beer would. Yeah. That's actually fairly nice. I still get a lot of that grape, that fermented grape moment there. Vanillas. A little bit of tobacco leaves, just like I get from my bourbon sometimes, as well as black tea. Yep. I didn't get that in my German video. All right, let's put a little bit of water in here. Take it down to about 40%. It was 47 beforehand. The nose just dissipates a little bit. It doesn't get stronger. It doesn't get hotter. The wood is a little bit stronger. I'm actually going to say I have a little bit of mahogany right now. I used to work as a cabinet maker. I know exactly there's that Indonesia mahogany as well as Brazil mahogany, and I would say this is more from the it's a 50-50, but I would go more for the Brazil mahogany. I might be wrong, I might be right. 50-50 as I said. Nice. The water's not necessary. Not at all. It just kind of dilutes it, and it's not really there. So what I'm going to give it a B-. Yeah, B-. So it's unique. Now the value for money, 80 euros for this little tiny bottle over here. I'm going to give it a C- because it's an experiment. You're part of an experiment, a scientific experiment, where you have a control group, you actually change something, they're going to build the instruments, they're going to test these instruments, and we get to have a little bit of a participation of this experiment because we get to drink the whiskey that's left over. And that has also been changed by the wood. Now, Makers 46 does almost exactly the same thing. Now, they're not building guitars out of the wood they put in there, but they actually toast different types of oak. They have French oak, they have then American oak, they have, I think they even have chestnuts in there. If you go for the Maker's Mark Private Select, you have all these 8 different staves you can put in there. Some are conventionally in the oven, toasted, others are charred, and they're just very, very interesting. The different tastes you can derive from just adding different types of oak into the barrels and letting them rest and letting them further mature for weeks up to a couple of months. Don't forget, 7 months different basically in the color here. Mahogany, and this is the normal color that they have from that distillery. Amazing. All right, so my question of the day is this a truly scientific, real experiment? Go online, just type in Aureum, the Guitarist, and you'll see all that information I've talked about in English. And is this really a good, true experiment. Do you think the guitars will sound differently after being submerged in alcohol for 7 months? For some reason, I think that the guitars will have more of a higher pitch. That the alcohol will change the cellular structure, the membranes of the wood, and make them more stiff. Convert that cellulose into more of a type of pitch, a type of amber substance, and therefore, just like we have stone wood, I think the alcohol will change the wood a little bit and make it actually not vibrate as much as it used to, and therefore be higher pitched. I might be totally wrong. Who knows? What's your opinion? All right, WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of American in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. One of 406 bottles is fairly exotic, I would say, and I'm looking forward to tasting the other 3 as well. All right, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are the day of my videos. Please like, subscribe, and tell others. Bye-bye.